Good morning, guys. I think we're streaming now, or shortly we will be. We're going to be talking about the corrupt government. What's new? But just briefly about it. And we can talk about it.
As of today, November 21st, 2018, I'm officially disassociating myself from the Proud Boys. In all capacities, forever, I quit.
Dun dun dun. That was Gavin McInnes.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys. So I'm going to be talking about Gavin McInnes quitting the Proud Boys. Should he have done it? They're under attack. They're being called extreme by the media and possibly the FBI and certain police groups. So whatever. But we can also talk about some other things.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, good morning, guys. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. I did. And you can call in, as some of you already have, at 888-775-3773. I am talking about Gavin McInnes, who founded the Proud Boys. He also founded Vice Magazine, by the way. And Vice Magazine has gone astray. I think they're involved with CNN. Like they're doing some type of partnership with CNN. Pretty interesting. But anyways, he's disassociated with Vice a long time ago, and now he's disassociating himself from the Proud Boys. And the Proud Boys, the best description and most succinct description that I've heard of them being called is a drinking fraternity. So it's guys that get together and drink, and they love the West. They love Western civilization, and they want to preserve Western civilization. Don't ask me how drinking helps that, but they just want to be guys getting together, and that part is good. And they are for getting married, having families, and stuff like that. They show up at rallies put on by the right, or speeches put on by the right, such as at Berkeley, where Ann Coulter was supposed to speak, but Antifa was too much of a security risk. Antifa is an anti-white, anti-American, anti-Trump sort of communist type of a group. They hate good people, and so they attack good people. They also hate whites, whether they're good or bad, and they attack the whites, people who support the white people. So Proud Boys shows up to these events, and most of these guys tend to be like reasonably young and strong, and so they show up to be like security at these events, and they punch back at Antifa. I've never seen them attack somebody what is it called? When you're for no reason, basically. I've never seen them attack somebody for no reason. I could be wrong. They maybe a few of them have, but generally they are there to defend and not be the aggressors. But they will punch back, and that's what they do with Antifa. And so and Antifa just wantonly hits people. They sucker punch Richard Spencer the day after the inauguration, or maybe the day of. And there was one guy who was a college professor. You guys all know about this probably, but there was a college professor who's a member of Antifa up in the Bay Area or Oakland area, something like that. And he had this U-shaped bike lock, and they caught on video this guy smashing this guy over the head with a bike lock. An Antifa member smashed a person, over the head with a bike lock. And there have been brawls and things between Antifa and the either the alt-right or the Proud Boys, who are not alt-right, and all kinds of, they attack Trump supporters and all kinds of stuff. So, and Antifa will call anybody a fascist. They'll call anybody a Nazi. They hate good. They hate good people, like Trump. They hate Trump. And Trump is kind of what has brought them out of the shadows, if you will. So, Proud Boys fights back, and Proud Boys was defending Gavin McInnes. And I'm gonna play some more clips of Gavin talking, and I have the full video link in the description. But Gavin spoke up at a Republican event to speak over in like Washington D.C. or somewhere. And of course, Antifa shows up and gets into a confrontation with Gavin McInnes. And then, fortunately, Gavin had some Proud Boys with him to protect him from Antifa's attacks. And so the Proud Boys beat up the Antifa because the Antifa people tend to be punks. And so Proud Boys beat him up. And Proud Boys is now, like 9 of these Proud Boys members are charged with crimes. It's crazy. Meanwhile, Antifa is getting by. That professor that I mentioned, he got probation after he gave the guy had to get stitches, getting hit over the head with a bike lock. Anyways, let's play this part B, where Gavin says that he's doing this reluctantly.
I do all of this reluctantly because I still see it as the greatest fraternal organization in the world, but rumors and lies and terrible journalism has made its way to the court system. And the NYC 9, the Proud Boys arrested after I did a talk here in New York on October 12th, are facing serious charges. I'm told by my legal team and law enforcement that this gesture could help alleviate their sentencing. Fine.
I don't understand their thinking with that. I don't know if he should have listened to them with that. Because when I heard this, and you guys can let me know too, when I heard this, it felt like he was capitulating to the false perception of the Proud Boys. You know, I've heard the CNN guys, specifically Chris Cuomo, talk about Proud Boys as if they're a bad group, and I almost joined Proud Boys. It's just that I'm too busy, and I don't need to be going out drinking. So I never ended up joining them, but I'm Proud Boys friendly, say, and so anyways, he dissociating himself from them. I don't know if these lawyers and law enforcement are good people to be listening to. But anyways, oh, and it was New York where this confrontation happened, not DC. It could happen anywhere. Let's play part C. He does not have ties to white nationalists.
At the very least, this will show jurors they're not dealing with a gang and there's no head of operations. We are not an extremist group, and we do not have ties with white nationalists. That's a sentence that was pulled out of a Vancouver police report and not one reporter talking about this ever spoke to the FBI. Not one reporter. It's in a police report in Vancouver. It's an FBI dictum.
Yeah, so the media came out with this thing where the Proud Boys, according to the FBI, is an extremist group with ties to white nationalists. And he's pointing out that the FBI has not come out and said this. It's just a police report in Vancouver somewhere, Washington, I guess, is saying that that's what the FBI says. And who knows if that's actually true. I was ready to attack the FBI, and I will, but it may just be the police, the Vancouver police report that I need to attack. So anyways, if Proud Boys has ties to white nationalists, it's because they're a huge group and white nationalists are friendly towards people who are friendly towards them or want to join up. And you see it here. People, Jesse defends white people, I defend white people. So you see the white nationalists, so-called, coming in here. And many of them are not even white nationalists. Some of them are just white advocates, as what's his name says. I'm blanking on his name, the guy from American Renaissance. So anyways, and Louis Gary says, no, it is the FBI. And I'm definitely willing to believe that because the FBI is known to be corrupt. you know, they have looked to the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, for tips on what is and isn't a hate group. So they're very corrupt. So anyways, let me go on to, yeah, so if Proud Boys has ties to white nationalists, so does Jesse. He has ties to white nationalists just because we, talk to them, or they come in and whatever. So anyways, that's that. Let's go to part D, where he shows a white man with his black wife and mixed-race children. And let's talk about it.
This whole idea of white nationalists and white supremacy is a crock. Why are we talking about it so much? Such people don't exist. Anyway, we have created a legal defense fund for the boys. It's at fundthewest.org.
Oh, take off
These guys deserve legal representation. This is one of them, by the way. This is Big J with his wife and kids. He's fired now, thanks to this lazy journalism, and these kids are now at a severe disadvantage because their dad's no longer making money. Nice work, journalists.
Such a shame. So if you didn't catch that website, if you want to support these guys, he said fundthewest.org. The website was a little. Okay, there you go. Yeah, fundthewest.org. That's the website. And he's saying, nice work, journalists, because journalists have a habit of going after whites and Christians and people and taking away their livelihood by encouraging their employers to fire them and just basically lynch mob type of stuff without actually killing them. They would like to kill them, but instead they'll be content to hate them and take away their jobs and all kinds of stuff like that. So anyways, fundthewest.org. And he showed, for those of you who are not watching but you're listening, he showed a picture of a family, and I saw some in the live chat, somebody was asking, who's that nice-looking family? There was a family, there's this big white guy, and he's married to this black woman, and he has two little cute boys. I think they're boys. Who obviously they're mixed race because he's white and she's black. And I don't like this kiss up stuff where you kiss up to like, oh, this is a black person that you're victimizing. Because they have no problem with victimizing white people. And we need to point that out. But anyways, so this guy got fired and I think he's being charged with crazy crimes like attacking Antifa, which, whatever. I thought that the FBI had labeled Antifa as domestic terrorists. I could be wrong about that, but I thought that I read that somewhere. But it's interesting, and then, of course, Trump attacks them. Trump attacks Antifa and calls the Democrats a mob, which they are. But you will only notice that the whites, the white advocates, the white nationalists, whatever, the Proud Boys, the Christians, are the ones who get prosecuted, who get put in jail and stuff like that. So, and this went to Charlottesville, the Charlottesville attacks, where the whites wanted to not take down the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee, which I support not taking it down. And then Antifa came and showed up and caused trouble, attacked people, hit cars with batons, and one of those cars went in and drove into a crowd and killed the girl, a woman, who may have been a member of Antifa. But anyways, the FBI is just a mess. You can imagine that, I mean, this is really not surprising. You look at, let me show you this, and then I will get to calls. Let me show you this real quick. According to The Hill, show these headlines from The Hill. I think it's like, you'll see them. From October 2016, government workers shun Trump and give big money to Hillary Clinton. The Justice Department, which is the DOJ, which includes the FBI, gave 97% of donations to Hillary Clinton. 97%, and that's according to FEC, Federal Election Commission, something like that, data. covering donors giving more than $200. So big money donations are all from the government employees, from the FBI included, are going went majority to Hillary and not Trump. And that's the Justice Department. And the Defense Department is even the same thing. Like you can see agriculture, commerce, defense, education, energy, HHS, which is Health and Human Services, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, HUD, which is Housing and Urban Development, IRS, Labor, Justice, State, Treasury, and Veterans. All of them, majority, vast majority, 80s to 90s, high 90s percentages going to Hillary, not Trump. So that's why I say we all know that the government's corrupt, including the so-called law enforcement side. It's a mess. And that's why even though Trump is in charge, he's not totally in charge. There's a lot of messy stuff going on. You can never really put your faith in the government because it's very corrupt. Anyways, let me get to some calls. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going? My name is John. I'm calling from Texas.
Did you say Ron from Texas? Hello?
Jay.
Oh, Jay.
John.
John, okay. Nice.
Yeah, sorry. I've been listening about Gavin. My comments were about something else.
That's fine.
The first thing was for Joel.
Joel?
Yeah, I heard him talking to Jesse when he was a beta, still living at home, and Jesse was trying to get him to rent a room and move out. And he said he could get a second job and all that stuff. But I do know Joel has already went through all those things.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of hear his idea of the time frame, because it didn't say when the video was of when he was sitting there with Jesse.
Okay.
But to me, it seems like it's like less than a year that he's already like turned his life around completely from the way he thought.
I would guess that it's, well, you can answer that, Joel. So Jesse's thing is rebuilding men, and I like that. I'm on board with that. And this other stuff that I'm talking about is just kind of FYI background stuff. The way to combat it is to be rebuilt yourself. That way you
you
are
can
less
just tell
likely to be
Joel
victimized. So anyways, Joel.
But it just seems like he does now.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
the
Ron.
second part was
I think it was a year
about racism
and a
and
half
how
or 2
I
years
do
ago.
believe it does not exist. And I started doing some research on historical black colleges and universities, and those were founded right after the Civil War in the 1860s. 2 in the North, and then the last 150 years, or at least the last 150 years before the Civil Rights. 100 years before the Civil Rights, there was 101 or so that were funded and all that kind of stuff. So if white people were oppressing black people and were racist and all those things, none of that would have ever transpired, ever. So it just shows that before the Civil Rights, white people did not hate black people.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's there's good and bad people throughout history.
Correct.
So, anyways,
right? But everybody seems to think in the modern age, like from Clinton until now, the last 20 years, that white people hate people, and that if that's all they think about, then that's all they're ever going to know. So I do hear Jesse saying prior to civil rights, people, respected one another and those kind of things. Yep. And I just wanted to let
that's a good
the
example.
Audience know that it's not only is that true, but look what they accomplished from 1800 to 1964 without the civil rights movement.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right? And
that's
so from
good
that
info.
till now, you're right. I believe the race hustlers have drug everybody down.
Yeah, they they give. This is kind of like the facts versus truth thing. They give a lot of, they may come up with, the worst examples of things that may have happened. And they may be exaggerating it, but they definitely don't tell, the good side of what was going on.
The whole side. No doubt.
They don't tell the truth.
With that one little thing, kind of like the TV.
Yeah.
'Cause I remember Jesse saying that it was 1% of people get shot, 2% get arrested of all the calls, right? But they don't focus on the 99% of people that just come and go through interaction with law enforcement. They only want to talk about the dude that got shot on the video.
Right. And they want to act like it's a bigger problem than it really is. And that it's affecting them.
It's almost like you think 99% of people are getting shot and arrested, confrontation with the police all day, every day, and only 2 or 3% are, go home unaccosted by them. And it's actually the opposite.
So, Joel, I think that was 1.5 or 2 years ago that you got that intervention.
No, yeah.
From church.
Yeah, it's funny. The longer you listen to Jesse, even though the camera doesn't turn around, you can pick up, your voice and Joel's voice,
right,
and G's voice and that kind of stuff, and you just kind of learn as you go who these people are. So the way I saw Joel now was not the way I saw him once I recognized his voice. I'm like, that's Joel talking to him. Right? And so it was backwards for me, and I was like, wow,
that's
listen
funny.
to how insecure he sounds. But that's not the guy, Joel, that I hear now.
Nice. Yeah,
the first. You understand? So, God bless you, man. I'm proud of you.
I appreciate it. Appreciate that.
Hey, you're welcome. That's it. I was I've been trying to call in on Jesse's show, and unfortunately, James, I knew about you and I knew about the Hake report, but I just never thought about it till the last, I guess it was Friday, and then today.
Nice.
And I just thought I'd try to reach out, and because of those two things that I thought of about Joel, and then also about the colleges and universities that have been around for 150 years. It's incredible.
Yeah, and that's when they were good colleges. Now they're just worthless, basically. They are just filling the blacks with hate, with
there's no doubt,
victimhood information.
Okay, well, I appreciate.
All right,
I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and I'll
thank you,
reach
John.
back again if I have anything.
All right, appreciate it. Take care.
You're welcome. Take care.
Well, this is nice, and that's what the Proud Boys were supposed to be doing. That's what they wanted to be doing, was like help this rebuilding men and families type of a thing. They wanted people to have families and lots of babies and stuff like that. And so that was what they were about, and now they're being called a hate group. So if you're about family, you're a hate group. Let me go to one more call. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Hello.
James?
Yes.
How you doing, James? Thanks for taking my call.
All right. Are you on a speakerphone?
No. Is this better?
Not really. Who is this?
This is Real from the chat.
Hey, Real from the chat. How you doing?
Good. I just wanted to. I don't know if calling Jesse.
You're really coming in and out, Real. You're really coming in and out. I can't understand you.
That's unfortunate. I don't know.
Stay close to your phone. Stay still. Yeah. Try it.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'll get my point across real quick. Jesse, on his show, he loves to talk about how the black community has babies out of wedlock.
Yeah.
And that's a big issue for the black community. In the white community, out of wedlock birth may not be the main issue, but divorce is an epidemic. And the negative consequences that it has on the children. The increased chance of drug use, depression, emotional instability, no desire or ambition. It totally destroys the kids mentally and emotionally. And you're seeing a big rise in opioid use in suburban America, basically white communities, and I think that's a big part of the reason why.
That's a good point. I think you may be right about that. They have the opioid use in the among whites is very disproportionate, and whites have been in a major decline too. Like if you just look at the out of wedlock birth rates among whites, it used to be like well below 10%. Now it's like around 30%. And among the native, it's worse than among the immigrants.
And also,
but yeah, you're right. Divorce is crazy, and it's been affecting It's been affecting. I've seen it affecting people, definitely. So
also the millennials, they're not interested in getting married and having kids.
Right, I know.
You got these women partying until they're 30, 35, and then all of a sudden they want to get married. By that time, it's not marriage material, you know what I mean? So it's a big mess up. It's a big hiccup. But anyway, James, appreciate you taking the call.
Thank you, Real. What's your first name and what town or state are you from?
I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida. My name's Andrew.
Nice. Well, good to meet you over the phone.
All right, James.
I'm glad you were able to sort out your phone. All right, bye. Yeah, that's what, I mean, this is what Gavin was trying to take care of, and now he's under attack because Antifa thinks that's fascist to be for family. Before I get to more calls, I want to mention a few things, a few more examples of how corrupt the government is. And I mentioned that the FBI looked to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which listed Jesse as being a hater. They listed Ben Carson as being a hater because I think that was when Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, the man who's in charge of HUD under President Trump, the one who was a neurosurgeon, I guess. He operated on unborn children and separated conjoined twins, and he's a brain surgeon. So anyways, he came out of poverty. He had that single mother that he was raised by, and she pushed him to work hard. He used to get angry, and one time he told a story where he tried to hit her with a hammer, but he got past all that anger. Like, he was in a fight, and he told this story where he was in a fight and he almost stabbed somebody, but the knife got stuck in the guy's belt and it didn't stab him. And he realized, like, man, I got an anger problem. And so he became more of a peaceful man. And he's a very successful man, at least in a worldly sense. And he's trying to push for what's right. And so he says, of course, homosexuality is a choice. It's because people go into prison straight, and then they come out gay. And so, like, that means that they were not born that way. So those are his words, basically, paraphrased. And I think that may have been when the SPLC called him a hater. But anyways, they attack good people all the time. And they attack some people that are like actual white nationalists. I don't know what's wrong with being a white nationalist. They attack black nationalists, and I don't really know what's wrong with being a black nationalist except you're in America. Maybe you should go somewhere else. But anyways, they attack these people, and some of them, in some cases, many of them may have hatred in their heart. Who doesn't have hatred in their heart? Most people do, including the SPLC, obviously, because they attack Christians as being anti-gay. And they call it hateful. It's so dumb. And so the FBI looks to people like that. And they also, I heard, and I don't know if it's true, they look to the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, which is a very defamatory organization. They try to be very fair, but they're not fair. And so they're very anti-American too. Really bad. They hate white people and Christians and stuff like that. That's the ADL. And I heard that the FBI, I don't know if it's true, looks to them, but they definitely looked to the SPLC. They had them listed on their website for years, and then they finally got them taken off. But I think that many of them are still secretly looking to them, because look at the donations. Like I said, 97% of the DOJ employees' donations went to, over $200 went to Hillary, not to Trump. So that just shows you where they're coming from. They're for a corrupt woman, not for a good man. So in the 70s, let me just go over to another branch of the government. The Supreme Court said that we don't know a baby is alive, but let's let women and their doctors kill, or not their doctors, but doctors kill the child in the womb because it's a matter of a right to privacy or something stupid like that. And in the last 10 years, the Supreme Court decided that they have the authority to define what marriage is. And marriage, they say, is between homosexuals. Even though that's not what marriage is, they think that they can force that on us, and everybody has to pretend that that's real. So that's the Supreme Court. They're very corrupt. And what else? The ACLU is another un-American organization. The ACLU is what's pushing for all these illegals to be coming in, and they're pushing for the gays and the transgenders to be able to impose their stuff on us and on children, to indoctrinate the children. And a spoiler alert says, I mean, they're all in cahoots, right? The ADL is part of YouTube's Trusted Flagger program for censoring videos. Probably why that one video by Jesse was automatically shut down by the algorithm in the YouTube. So anyways, I will get to more of this stuff, but I want to get to some more calls. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? You sound like you're in a truck.
Hi. Oh, hold on just a second.
All right. That's better.
Sorry about that, James. How are you doing today?
Fine. You're still sounding like you're talking into a walkie-talkie in a pan.
Oh, sorry, I'm driving right now.
All right.
Hold on, let me.
I'll put you on hold. I'll put you on hold. Fix it, and I'll come back to you in a sec. Oh, by the way, gay is not okay. I had a conversation with a couple of buddies of mine over the Thanksgiving holiday, and one of them said that he was convinced that it was right by another like far left liberal mutual friend of ours. I don't know if he considers himself a friend of mine anymore, but he said that they have a hard life. He's like, hey, gays have a hard life. And that's what convinced him to support homosexuality is fine. No, of course they have a hard life because they're mentally ill. When you're mentally ill, you have a hard life. We all have our issues, right? We all have, and I don't even really like the word mentally ill. That seems more like a trick phrase. It's more spiritually ill, and then it affects their mental. That's my take. They're spiritually ill, and we all have our spiritual illnesses, right? And we all have to get over them. That doesn't mean that you support wrong. And they say, oh, you're hurting them, because I'm saying that it's wrong, right? I'm saying that homosexuality is wrong. And they say, you're hurting them. I'm like, no, I'm not. It is not hurting them to say wrong is wrong. And in fact, it's hurting them to pretend that wrong is right. So they're the ones who are hurting them by being mamas and feeling sorry for the gays. So anyways, let me check with this guy again. Hey, you there? Caller.
Yes, yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, who is this?
Oh, hi, this is Pete, and I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Hey, Pete, good to hear from you.
How you doing today, James? So, you know, I've been watching you guys for a while. And when I mean you guys, I mean you and Jesse.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, I don't agree with you guys at all.
Yeah.
I watch you guys for the same reason that, you know, you would watch, I don't know, like something entertaining, comedy.
Oh, okay, yeah,
or,
I got you. Yeah, because,
yeah,
I mean, I watch a lot of movies I disagree with. Or
right,
TV
yeah,
shows.
I'm sure you probably think that all of Hollywood is, you know,
yeah,
evil and liberal and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, do you, are you ever disappointed in the way that, you know, that your fellow white people have been acting in this country recently? Are you ever disappointed by that?
That's an interesting question. Like, yes. Yes.
You are disappointed? And what, like, specifically I'm talking about, I guess, like, the terror, the right-wing terror that we've been seeing lately?
I can think of a couple of instances. Like, are you talking about the package bombs that were sent, and then there was a shooting at that. There was a shooting by that guy, that white guy at the synagogue. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those are two. Those are definitely disappointing. That the package bomber was not particularly white, but yes. Yes,
so,
disappointing. Disappointing.
Okay.
Shouldn't have done that.
Right. And so, like, my question is because, you know, just by observation, whenever I look through some of your live live chats and some comments through videos, you know, there's a lot of comments that I guess the guy who shot up the synagogue would agree with. So I don't know if you find that concerning that you have a lot of viewers and listeners that pretty much agree with the same ideology of that guy who shot up the synagogue.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm sure that there is a lot that I agree with both of those guys who committed those attacks, or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
There is a lot of stuff, but the ideology is not the poison. The anger is the poison. They're angry, so they shot up, you know? So you can believe in, say that guy was a white nationalist. There's a lot, I would say majority of white nationalists are not going to do anything like that. I mean, it's plainly obvious that, and nor would the majority of them even support that. But nationalists or white nationalists don't really support that. So it's not really concerning to me that they agree with me, because like the left has always been more violent, and it's not because of their ideologies, because of their anger. Their anger is encouraged on the left, whereas anger is discouraged on the right. And the right has a fear problem and an anger problem, but fear is anger, same thing. But anyways, yeah. Anyway, any follow-up?
Okay, so I mean, I was just gonna say, like, so you think that it doesn't matter the beliefs, so like,
right?
So
yeah.
So you think that so you think so people who follow Islam and commit Islamic attacks, it doesn't have anything to do with Islam. It's just the anger.
I guess so. I guess you could say that at its root, because you have to really, we're in a fight between good and evil, right? And most of us are evil, and most of us try not to commit like too much evil, I guess, but we are still evil. And so, like, if you break it down to good versus evil, then you don't get hung up on, it's the Jews, it's the Christians, it's the Muslims, it's whatever. You don't get as hung up on that, because you have to check yourself. You always have to check yourself. That's why this whole racism thing, like, it's a red herring, in the sense that it causes you to focus on some other person who you cannot relate to, because most people can't relate to thinking that such and such race is better than the other. But you can relate to being angry. You can relate to being evil. And all people are susceptible, in general, to be evil or angry. And so that's why you have to break it down to that. And I mean, like I said, the left, which includes the Muslims, has always been more violent. And it's because Islam is like a religion of anger.
What are the statistics on that? What are the statistics on that? Do you know?
I don't know the statistics, but
versus right-wing violence?
It's like far, like ridiculously out of proportion to the left. The left has always been ridiculously more violent than the right.
Well, that's
always.
Not true, but
it is true.
That's not true. No, it's not. I mean, if you can bring up some sources right now, because I can bring up like 5 or 6.
Okay. How many people did communism kill? Many millions, more than the Nazis. And then how many people did abortion kill? That's a leftist. Well, how many people did capitalism kill? Millions and millions and millions and millions. I don't know how many capitalism killed.
Well, exactly, because we don't include all the different the different crimes committed by settlers and pretty much foreign invaders. And colonialism and imperialism. We don't include those under capitalism, even though that's what it is.
It's kind of silly. It would be in the thousands.
Whenever you put communism into that big umbrella, then everything that Stalin did and everything was communism. Then why can't I do that? The same thing with capitalism and right-wing people.
Well, I mean, you could count up all those people that America killed in wars with the engines or whatever, and it still wouldn't even be close to what communism and the left has done. The left, even to this day, they commit. I mean, the prisons are filled with Democrats. Hello?
Okay.
It's a fact.
You have no statistics to back that up, James, and you know.
Yeah, I do. The prisons are totally filled with Democrat-leaning voters. That's why Democrats want felons to be able to vote.
Well, don't you think that it's because it's disproportionately of a certain race?
Are you saying, I don't know, maybe. Are you talking about how blacks are majority brainwashed and follow the Democrats too?
I wouldn't say brainwashed, but I would say that they look at...
Okay, is 96%, is that not brainwashed to you? 96% voting for Obama twice when they call themselves Christians.
No, but
that's
it's
not
because
brainwashed?
Republicans have done nothing to reach out to the black community, so why would they vote Republican?
They don't have to. They shouldn't have to.
Yeah,
they shouldn't have
exactly.
to. No, I'm saying that why should the Republicans reach out to the black community?
Because you're telling them that they're brainwashed, so they need an alternative, right?
Anyway, you're kind of deviating from the point. The point is that the left is more
Well, if you're
violent.
telling people that they need to get off the quote-unquote democratic plantation, then you should provide an alternative and not just...
Yeah, the alternative is follow what's right. The alternative is to follow what's right.
And to you, that's the Republican Party. And
the Republican platform, yeah.
Right. Okay, so why has there not been a bigger effort to reach out to the black community instead of just
because like I said, the right wing has more of like the fear type of anger, where
blacks that's the whole platform of the Republican Party, fear.
Cute, but anyways, like the Republicans have more like fear, so they're afraid to tell blacks you're brainwashed. So the blacks don't know that they're brainwashed. It's very hard. It's so much easier to convince somebody of a lie than to convince them they've been lied to. To brainwash a person is very easy. To convince them that they've been brainwashed is pretty tough.
I can see that with you. You've really been brainwashed by something. I don't know what it is, man.
All right. So anyways, yeah, the left is more violent, and blacks are brainwashed, so that's why they support the Democrat Party.
You have no stats to back that up besides your little phony Democrat prison statistic.
So you don't know that you already acknowledged that the majority of felons would vote Democratic, and then you're calling it phony. So you're not really being honest.
because just because the fact is true, you can skew that statistic because we know that black people are disproportionately in prison, and we know that the majority of black people vote Democrat.
Right.
So that has nothing to do with the fact that all Democrats are in prison.
That's the way they're framing it. Democrats are in prison. But anyway,
everyone in prison are Democrats.
So we kind of like...
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I would say that the majority of prisoners are Democrat. Anyways, we're kind of going in circles now.
Okay. Well, I mean, that still doesn't prove that the left is more violent than the right, but okay.
You can stay in denial. I don't care.
No, well, I mean, I think you're just a little shook because you don't know how to respond to that.
I think he cussed. I think he just cussed. Pete, nice to talk to you. Nice talking with you. Take care.
All right. Thanks, James.
Anyways. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
James, I can't believe it. You're finally getting me on. Oh, my God. Let me talk to this Pete guy. Are you kidding me? This kid's so out of line.
Yeah.
James, this guy. Hey, listen. First of all, Pete, I got it. Wait a second.
It was funny. All right,
Pete,
go ahead.
I got an answer for you.
Who is this again?
Pete, let me answer Pete.
Who is this again?
Giuseppe from Texas.
Giuseppe.
It's Giuseppe from Texas.
Giuseppe, you're always riled. You're always riled up. Attacking my other callers.
Because I get upset by what Pete is just talking about. I'm listening to
But he has a right to be dumb. He has a right to just outright deny the truth and then tell me that I'm a little SH bleep bleep for pointing out that he's just in denial.
No, I disagree with you. He doesn't have the right to call you that name. Who does he think he is? No, that's disrespectful.
I mean, it is. No, it's very disrespectful. And
first of all,
I had to hang up on him.
Secondly, Mr. Pete, the first thing that he tried to do in his conversation with you in his smug beta male way was that he was trying to associate the people who agree philosophically in certain regards to the person who shot at the synagogue may be within your audience. So because of that,
if they were in our audience, and they were reachable,
he's trying to imply that means that that's something negative against you. How dare you, sir? How dare you? And by the way, Mr. Pete, just so you know, Hitler was a vegetarian. So what does that mean? Anybody who shares Hitler's ideal of a vegetarian world, they're Hitler supporters. There you go, Pete. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Pete. You understand what I'm trying to say, James?
I get you. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's silly. He's basically trying to. I mean, it's what the media does, though, and so like he falls for what the media believes.
Right, he's a total little brainwashed beta male.
Hey,
Dude,
but
go back
maybe
to
there's
your private college.
You know,
go
like
back to your private university that you go to. What college does he go to?
But
where they
see,
wear
like
friggin' Birkenstock.
But see, like Ray Milligan, whom I really admire, he's like a vet, Vietnam vet. He's saying Pete is the problem, and you can say that it's a problem that brainwashed people like Pete will vote Democrat, and you know they'll support the attack on whites and the attack on Christians, and like you could say that even the friends that I was arguing with about homosexuality over the weekend, they are like useful idiots. And so, like, they have already been radicalized to where they're attacking me and calling me a bad person and Jesse a bad person just because we realize that homosexuality is wrong. I mean, it's just stuff that's so obvious that we're acknowledging that's, like, not even really relevant to anybody's life, except for maybe some of the homosexuals who have this question in their mind. But it's really not relevant to anything, but they want to call you a bad person for it. And so they're militant. But like what Jesse says, in anger you believe lies. So like they're angry and they're believing these ridiculous lies, and then like we're getting angry and believing the lie that we have the right to be angry at them, and we don't. You know what I mean? So that's like what I like about Jesse's message is that it overcomes the radicalization from fake knowledge. Or knowledge, period, even whether it's true knowledge, whether it's factual knowledge or fictional knowledge, because there's both there's both kinds. Like you look at the blacks.
It always comes
you look
down
at the blacks
to
that
good
call
and evil.
You look at the blacks that call Jesse a sellout, right? And then now, like, and they're basing it on their fictional knowledge. And then you look at the whites that are calling Jesse a sellout, and they're hung up on their factual knowledge, but they're both believing lies because they're judging someone. They're judging a good man. You know what I mean? So that's that. So Pete is not the problem. The problem is like we have to overcome evil. That's basically the problem, I think. That's my take.
I'm with. Hey, but James, listen. Not only am I with you. That was very eloquently said. That was really beautiful. I agree. It is just about good and evil. So I'm completely with you. But if I may say something else, why do the listeners have to bring up poor Joel every 5 minutes? Can't the brother just like live his life in peace? Like Joel's not trying to bother anybody. He just listen, dude. I'm an audio engineer from 5 in the morning to like noon.
Right.
Then I got to dance all day. Then I got to pay bills. Can I just come to work? Not only is the guy just trying to live his life, but every 5 minutes with the callers, hey Joel, you're doing so well. Oh,
and then Joel,
I know that you bought a new car.
And then Jesse's trying to give out his Instagram
every 5 minutes
so that people can attack him via DM or whatever it's called, direct message.
Did he get attacked?
I mean, he's had stalkers. We've all had our share of stalkers.
I'm sorry.
But
oh no.
Yeah, but that guy was he was friendly towards Joel. He was like impressed by the change that he saw because he knows Joel now. And then he came across this old video from 2 years ago almost where we had an intervention. And it's funny because Jesse goes through this like almost like all the time. He went through it with me when I came to Bond at age 25. And at that point, I was back living with my parents. And he's like, you got to move out. And anyways. Anyways, Giuseppe, I appreciate it. Anything else?
All right. No, I'm just laughing.
By the way,
I'm just laughing to myself.
By the way,
I think it's funny that his personality is not down with that. Go ahead, James.
You went after Skip last week, and Skip says that he tried to let me in on the joke when he was talking about how 11 Mexicans died in
Yeah.
his state because
Yeah.
a bunk bed had collapsed.
Right.
And
Yeah,
he's
the
all, you
bunk
don't.
bed joke, right.
He says that he says basically, oh, you're not getting it. But yeah, and I was saying, yeah, I don't get that story, but I didn't realize he was trying to let me in on the joke, but.
Yeah, but he was
I
still
didn't-
disrespectful. He was still disrespectful, James. Don't let him off the hook. He was
Whatever.
still being disrespectful because if you don't get the joke, he's got to let you in on it. He's got to let you.
He
know,
was trying to
you know,
let me in on it, but he just.
Yeah, but he's got to do a better job. Next.
Anyways, Giuseppe, I appreciate it.
All right, James. Take care, buddy.
All right, you too. Let me go to one more caller before I get to the rest of this stuff. It's very interesting stuff. I have some memes to show you guys. Caller, what's your name?
James.
And where are you calling from? Hey.
Hello, James.
Long time no here, Maze.
Yes, can't get through. Giuseppe wasn't talking about nothing.
I know.
I always want to jump on people.
True.
And then this person in here saying nobody have low IQ. I wonder what kind of IQ do he has. The one that's in there talking about an IQ. He probably don't have one.
I only saw that somebody said
Let's take it out.
somebody said that James has low IQ.
Well,
when
whatever.
I was trying to debate Pete.
I want to talk about these parties.
How can you overcome
They're
denial?
always saying that the blacks are in the Democratic Party, but what about the Caucasians? That's 98% of them in the Republican Party.
98%.
And neither one of them are getting neither
That's
one
not
what
true.
they want.
No,
Yes, it is.
No,
98%
it's about
of
half and
Caucasians
half.
are in the Republican Party.
No, that's ridiculous. You're wrong.
Well,
It's
you're
about
wrong
half and
about
half.
both of them then, if that's the case, because I'm not in
No.
neither party. So that's why I can say what I'm saying.
Whatever. Okay,
Because
so
the Republicans worrying about an abortion, which they don't
hold
want,
on,
to
Mace.
hear.
No, let's talk about abortion next, but first,
I
let
want
me
to talk
clear
about
the record.
abortion. I'm saying what they scream about. I'm
Okay.
going to tell y'all the thing the Republicans
The
scream about.
Republican Party, I don't know what the breakdown of the Republican Party is.
And they
Maybe
are
most of
reflecting
it
of
is
what?
white because, hold on.
Oh,
Hold on,
and if
hold
you
on,
look at what they
hold on. Mace.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe most of it is white because whites tend to vote for sanity more so than other races for some reason.
Go for what?
Sanity. Freedom, stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, that's what the
Why are they
that's
trying
what
to
the
keep people
platform
out
is
of
about.
schools and where you live?
Love for America,
Another group
love
of
for
people, they're
God
trying
and
to keep them
family.
out of the universities.
Hold on,
And you
Mace.
saying they for sanity? Really?
Yeah,
They always want to stop people from doing stuff.
whatever.
And then you got the other side.
Now,
if
hold
you
on,
look at
Mace,
one
hold
side, who are they
But-
reflecting themselves?
The reality is, like, nobody votes.
the reality.
No other race. Most of the races are kind of like whites are kind of evenly split. Maybe lean a
Really?
little bit more Republican. I wish
Really?
that 98% of whites would vote frickin'. I mean, pardon my French.
Well, your numbers are dropping, so it
Republican.
really
I
not
wish.
going to matter which side
That would
you're
be
on,
awesome.
really. when you
Unfortunately,
hear-
a big chunk of whites are brainwashed. Even bigger chunk.
Yes, they are on the Republican
of
side
all
and the
the
Democrat
POCs
side,
are.
but you won't admit that.
Huh?
And then you talking about
You're
good and
talking
evil.
over me, so I'm missing
Oh,
what you're
okay.
saying.
I'm sorry. You discuss good and evil. So do you sit
Yeah.
back and look at the evil that your party do?
Yes.
Let's have a conversation on it. Now name some
All
of the
right.
evil things that they do.
One of the things that they did that was evil.
Doing, not did. Doing.
Doing. Not so totally supporting Trump. That's evil. That's one thing. I'm drawing a blank. That's about all that matters.
That's about all that matters, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
mean,
always wanna say
the
what-
Republicans
you
are
always want to say
cowards.
what blacks do, and they vote Democratic,
Right.
yes, and they go. Some black people vote for the Green Party. They vote for all
Because
of the
nobody
parties
else
that's out
really
there.
talks
But
about
then
how
it's
dumb blacks are.
This rhetoric that y'all got
And
going
then,
on.
yeah, we can talk about how dumb the whites are and like how dumb that the Republicans are. They're cowards, most of them.
And they don't even agree with
Most
each
of
other
us-
themselves.
Huh?
They don't even agree with each other. And you got to go talking about what blacks go and vote for. If they didn't vote for either party, both of those parties are two of the same. Just like I say, they live in the house together.
Isn't it? It's so weird,
Why
though.
is that
It's
so
so
strange?
weird that the majority of blacks are so far like that, and then all these other uppity
You don't
people
know the
that
majority of
kiss up-
blacks. You don't even know but one black person, two, that's Joel and Jesse. Now, what are the other ones that you know since you want to talk about the
Are you
majority?
black?
What do you know about the majority?
I lost my train of thought.
Listen, I know you did. You indoctrinated. And that one that just hung up, that was having a fit about the guy that was talking before he came on.
Yeah, Giuseppe complaining about
Shouldn't
Pete.
we have a thought? Does anybody have a thought but Caucasian? Everybody else have a thought, but you get mad with them.
A what? A
Let
thought?
everybody have their own opinions,
Yeah, okay.
and you deal with what they got to say and stop screaming and hollering.
All right. But I mean,
And
that guy,
that's- I
that
say
guy
it.
called me a little
Y'all got some
SH
work to do.
bleep. Accurate or
You got some-
inaccurate?
Caucasians got some work to do. You want
Definitely.
to indoctrinate
Bad.
people to say what you want to hear to make
We
you
gotta,
happy.
We got to cut out the
not
divorce.
happening, James.
Oh, by the way, this reminded me. Thank you, Maze. Okay, so this reminded me. This guy mentioned divorce. I think Real Andrew. I think he's the one who brought up divorce.
That?
Out of West Palm Beach, Florida. So divorce is not the only evil in a family. Like there's a lot of families that are together where the man and the woman are just tolerating each other. And so, like, the kids are not growing up.
If you don't have a wife
right.
and never had one, how can you discuss the divorce?
Oh,
I mean,
I grew up in a family. Hello.
Maybe they stopped loving each other, and then they just divorced and went their own separate ways.
But if you love, you don't stop loving.
That's right. If you love, you stay together. But when you stop loving something, what happens? You get rid of it.
But there is no such thing as stop loving.
And then I say competition. That's what we want to talk about. When it gets to competition, the Caucasians always want to move somebody out the way. Because when you hear them guys saying the Jews will not replace us, you don't hear nobody else saying, but they want to get mad with Farrakhan about something he said.
I think what they meant was that.
What did they mean?
They meant that the Jews will not use all these immigrants to come and replace whites, but it's already happened.
But you said that they were going to come and replace black people and take their jobs. So which one?
Yeah, both. I mean, really.
Really?
Yes, really.
But you always got to have somebody to join you.
You got to be in total denial. Hold on, Mace. You got to be in total denial to not see that. No pun intended. To not see that. I laugh at my own jokes. I love it. You got to be in total denial not to see that blacks once did a lot of jobs. Like they dominated a lot of fields. And now the Mexicans dominate, or Hispanics dominate those fields. So yes, they have been replaced.
Well, no, I'm saying you're being replaced by the Arabs. You're being replaced by the Russians.
Those two, yeah.
Because that's what you're doing business with now. So who's replacing you?
You know, Maze, I got to go.
You forgot that. You're not looking at it. You're looking at a party. And you're not looking at what's happening.
And I didn't say Happy Thanksgiving to Maze because I don't think that she celebrates Thanksgiving.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Anyways, appreciate it, Maze.
And nobody's birthday was on Thanksgiving, so I didn't have to celebrate.
Nice.
You know, what do you say?
I said, nice. Do you celebrate birthdays even?
Yes. And I didn't miss a thing. I didn't have anybody's birthday to celebrate on Thanksgiving. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't.
All right,
Black people are a mess.
All right, Maze, I got to go. Take care.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Why are they having a problem with the Asians out in California that are going to
the Asians that are buying up all of our land with cash?
Yeah, I'm saying they having a problem.
You're getting muffled. Maze, you're getting muffled. You know, it's been 7 minutes. I got to go.
Okay, I know. But Caucasians, get yourself together and learn how to share.
Thank you, Maze.
That's one of God's commandments.
Good advice.
You do that, you'll make yourself a better person. Have a good day.
You too. Callers, hang on. I want to just mention a couple more things. Let's show these memes about family. There's a meme that I came across of Don Lemon's family, Rachel Maddow's family, Anderson Cooper's family, and Tucker Carlson's family. It's so cute. It's so heartwarming. At least the Tucker Carlson's one. The other one's like very disturbing. So I'll describe it for the people listening who are not watching. First one is Don Lemon with his white so-called boyfriend, holding hands on the blech. And then there's the second one is Rachel Maddow with her so-called partner, wife, or whatever you want to call them. These are all like radical homosexual media figures. And then the third one is two guys, Anderson Cooper and his whatever that is. And then the one on the bottom is Tucker Carlson with his 4 children and his wife. So nice. The one on the bottom. That's the real family. That's why homosexual marriage is not marriage, because it doesn't create a family. A marriage is for creating a family. So that's what Tucker did. And good for him. More whites need to do that. As Mace said, whites, get y'all act together. I just thought that was a nice meme. Let me show one more thing. Another meme from Happy Thanksgiving. It looks like a CNN thing with Trump. Trump pardoned the turkey because it was Thanksgiving. And the Ninth Circuit blocked that pardon. Cute, right? So like it's a CNN fake Chiron. Oh, Chiron. I said Chiron. Chiron. So the president cannot pardon a white bird accused of racism. I just thought it was a cute meme. I just wanted to show it to you guys in the spirit of Thanksgiving because it was Thanksgiving. By the way, the U.S. and Mexico, according to the Washington Post, were talking about letting illegals from Honduras and all that, the caravans, migrant caravans, stay in Mexico while they awaited their asylum hearings. They're trying to apply for asylum. Instead of coming here illegally, they're trying to call it legal by applying for asylum as refugees. When in reality, as Ann Coulter said, that refugees are supposed to just go into the neighboring country, not all the way over to America. But we have a very corrupt refugee resettlement program. I recommend following Refugee Resettlement Watch. Ann Corcoran is doing the Lord's work, as Caroline says. Caroline is a listener from, I think, New York or something. So anyways, this may have been a false report, or it may have been like a jumping the gun type of a report from Washington Post trying to undermine the deal. The Washington Post is the enemy of the people. They're determined that America die in darkness that they help create. Mexico, the incoming interior minister, whatever you call her, I believe it's a she, has since denied that they are making that deal where the illegals cannot just stay in here in this country while applying for asylum. So these illegals, it's just it's a scam. And most lawyers are corrupt. That's why I don't know why Gavin McInnes listened to his lawyers. I don't know if he should have or not. Anyways, that's about it. By the way, the campfire I heard is 100% contained, the fire that's in Northern California, and it killed 85 people. Man, and it destroyed a bunch of homes and all kinds of stuff. So anyways, caller, what's your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Hello?
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right, be ready.
Am I on?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Hey, this is Steven from Delaware.
Hey, Steven, how's it going?
It's going good. I just want to make a quick comment.
With a PH?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make a quick comment about what the guy was saying in the chat room. He was saying something about that race and IQ played a part in terms of people's IQ number. That's been disproven. So I just want to put that out there. Somebody in
the live chat was saying that you're like somebody's race is associated with IQ in that like that whites tend to have higher IQs than blacks, for example, and then Asians have a higher IQ than whites, I think, and then the Jews have the highest, or certain types of Jews have the highest IQ, stuff like that.
Yeah. So
that was disproven?
With that particular, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Was that disproven?
Yeah. With that survey, hold on real quick. Sorry, with that particular study, it was disproven because a lot of the data that they used when they were going throughout the African countries, they speculated what the neighboring countries' IQ would have been. So a lot of the African countries that they visited, it was just speculated based on just one of the countries they went to. So a lot of the countries they didn't even go to.
Interesting. I mean,
but
it doesn't. To me, this type of stuff is really side note stuff, in my opinion.
No, I agree, but I just wanted to make sure that I just wanted to just.
That's an interesting point. I mean, it's I don't know how much that really debunks it by saying that they just speculated, because from one country to another, which countries did they compare? Did they assume that Egypt or I don't know. Anyway, a lot of African countries some of them are doing better than others, let's say.
Right,
and,
that's true.
So
but anyways, there's articles and stuff that shows that it's been disproven. All you got to do is look it up. It's online. But it's neither here nor there.
Oh my gosh, I'm overtime. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Real quick here, the guy that called in, I think his name is it Pete?
Yeah, Pete, the guy that called me a little sh bleep bleep. Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably never seen the inside of a college classroom. He couldn't even say Catholicism. So. All right. Have a good one, James.
All right. You too, Steven. Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. I'm sorry, callers. I can't get to the rest of you. I'm way over time. And no, it's not 2 hours. Somebody said 2 hours now. That's what tipped me off that it's like time to end. So anyways, guys, go to church with Jesse Lee Peterson. Go to Bond Rebuilding the Man on YouTube. Bond Rebuilding the Man. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Subscribe to Bond Rebuilding the Man on YouTube. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Wow.